Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ravemen FR1000 Lumen bike headlight and mount combination. The Ravemen FR1000 is the brightest headlight in the FR series and features an integrated mount and light design. It takes the sandwich light design of the FR lights and takes it to the next level by making the light itself a mount and thereby reducing the height of the overall accessory. Packaging wise, you can see really simple. You have a nice orange coloring with black accents that matches the Ravemen logo, ton of specs and everything printed directly on the box, and this nice little cutout in the front of the packaging that lets you actually see the light and the lens. I'll go ahead and open this up and we'll go over the full specs. So retail price on this is $75. You get 1000 lumen of output, so pretty bright. And it has an integrated mount design. So again, the light itself is a mount that you clamp on to your handlebar. It has a dual-sided mount, so you can put Garmin, Wahoo, or Bryton computers on top. And then it has a GoPro adapter for the bottom. It has a 3000 milliamp internal battery, so pretty large, with a headlight, 1000 lumen single LED that actually has an angle adjustment, so you can optimize the beam angle. The whole light itself, as you can see, has a quick release mechanism, so you can detach this entire thing from your handlebar to charge it, or to remove all your accessories if you're parking outside. As far as what's included, you can see we have the two pieces of the light itself. It's bolted onto this cardboard. You have the instruction manual, a warranty card. You have two USB cables. You have a USB-C to C, and then a USB-C to micro USB, and that's because this also has power bank functionality, so you can charge an older device that has micro USB port directly from this, or use a USB-C to C to attach it directly. You also have the additional shims and accessories here, so additional shim for the mount, and then you have the other mounts, so there's a Wahoo and a Garmin pre-installed, a Bryton one included here, and then you can see the GoPro adapter here for the bottom side. Now let's take a look at the weight of the light setup. So the headlight plus the back mount piece and the associated bolt comes out to 161 grams. If you want to attach the GoPro to the bottom, you'll need that little accessory, and then the two bolts, which adds only 4 grams. The Ravemen FR1000 takes Ravemen's FR combo light design to the next level with higher output and a more integrated design. Instead of having a light that attaches to a mount, the entire mount and light is actually one piece. So you can see the light itself is incorporated directly into the mount with a separate clamp piece. It's essentially a two-piece design. You have the portion that stays with your handlebar, and then the mounting surface with the light in the center. So that really reduces the overall height, which is what you need, especially with such a bulky design. With 1000 lumens, obviously it's quite a bit thicker, more similar to the KOM cycling quick release 1000, but with this one, there is an additional mount that would take up more space, as it has a back attachment piece directly to this. It's actually a quick release design as well. So you can see, you can just pull this off. It has a little tab design, so that lets you pull this off your bike for charging, or to take off all your accessories if you park outdoors. It's a clever overall design, and you can see one-sided clamp with a bolt-on design that's designed for 31.8 millimeter or 35 millimeter diameter handlebars. So it's a pretty clever design overall. And the light piece itself is capable of 1000 lumens and has a pretty large 3000 milliamp battery. You have a nice combination of plastic and metal to help dissipate the heat from this higher output. So you can see the metal components with the little fins, and then dual-sided mounting. So it's a long rectangle, one LED on the front, and then you can see the power button on one side with illumination. The other side you have the charging port, and you can see you also have this nice textured surface here. It's a little bit rubberized, which makes it easy to grab the light. On the bottom, you have a bolt-on attachment for the GoPro, so you can leave it off or attach it with the two bolts. While the top side has a female Garmin attachment with two bolts again, and you can swap this out for either the Bryton, which is actually unusual to see. Bryton is usually a brand a lot of people support, but this one you get the Bryton or the Wahoo. So you can see you have both of them. And with the Wahoo, it's simply flipped. So there's two screws underneath this, and then these two main screws. Very simple design, so you can put your computer on top, regardless of what brand it is. and then even put a GoPro underneath. The other cool thing about this is you can see the light. It's a single light that puts 1,000 lumens out. And if I turn it on, you can see produces a nice rectangle light beam, so it really spreads it out. It's a simple design though. You can see a total internal reflection lens, so TIR lens on the inside. And then these horizontal diffusers, that's what these vertical lines are, help spread the light with this additional kind of frosty finish on the lens, and that helps spread the light around. It is not a sharp beam cutoff, so you can see you'll definitely blind oncoming traffic, so that's why they've actually added a little angle adjustment to it. So very similar to the KOM cycling, this whole thing is hinged up to 30 degrees. So it's a pretty cool design, so it gives you between 0, so horizontal, or really duck downward. So depending on your bike setup, if you have your handlebars kind of angled upward, you don't have to keep adjusting this angle. You can keep this level and optimize your computer angle and then adjust for the beam using this hinge. The hinge feels really nice. It extends the full way and has 10-degree divots, so you can see you have a nice click. Operating the light is also really simple. Single power button. It's illuminated green or red or flashing red. As with a lot of these indicators, it's a little bit vague, so it's 40% to 100% for green, and then everything below that is either red, and if you're under 5%, it goes flashing. So it gives you a basic idea, but not a lot of accuracy. You can also see you have side visibility, so the lens actually wraps around, so you get a little bit of reflection. And from the top, you don't see anything, so it's nice you have the little guard on the top. A single button press cycles through the modes, and there's also a motion sensor in here, so they have an auto off mode. So if you're not moving around for 2 minutes, it'll automatically turn off, and you can disable or enable that feature by holding the power button for 3 seconds. And you can see that's either on or off, so if I turn it off again, you can see first second turns on, and then it either flashes or does the standard on-off to indicate whether it's on or off. There's only 5 modes, so 4 constant modes and then 1 flash. It's not quite a daytime flash. So you can see it's more of a pulsing flash, but it gives you pretty good runtime thanks to a large battery. And again, you can use this as a power bank, which is always nice if you run out of juice mid-ride. Here you can see the beam pattern for the light. There's a couple constant modes, 1000 lumen high mode, a 500 lumen medium mode. Then you have a low mode with 300 lumen and the longer runtime of 7 hours. And there's also an eco mode that's even dimmer at 150 lumen and 10 hours. There's only one flash mode, which is a pulse flash, which kind of goes low to high, and that's 500 lumens. As far as the beam shape, you can see it's a nice wide beam. It's more of a spot beam with that single LED, but there's diffusers that help spread it out. It looks really dim here, especially with the GoPro. It always looks dimmer. But you can see nice and bright, you have the adjustable angle, and at 1000 lumens, more than bright enough to ride at faster speeds. The beam itself is nothing special, just more of a standard spot beam. A little bit of horizontal diffuser. Would have been nice to see some anti-glare features, like a true sharp beam cutoff that we're seeing more with lights. But it's a nice combination of nighttime visibility. We also would have liked to see more of a daytime flash mode. This one is just a pulse mode. Otherwise, you can see adjusting the output of the light does require going through that single flash mode. So as long as you go quickly, it's not too distracting, but it would have been nice if there was a double press to access flash and keeping the constant mode separate. But otherwise, pretty nice light, nice and bright, and you can adjust the angle, which is a nice feature. So if you want to see more ahead of you, you can easily do that while you're riding. We also have the other Ravemen FR lights here. So we have the newer 500, which we recently reviewed as well. This one has a different form factor. So all the other ones have this more shield-like shape to it with a wraparound lens, while the 1000 has more of an integrated design and rectangular look to it. So definitely a different design. And this has double the output of the 500. The 500 has 2 small LEDs, no angle adjustment. And you can see more of a wraparound lens design that's really designed to sit between the computer and the actual mount. So here's an example of an out front mount. And the problem with this design, an FR500, is that even at only 500 lumen, it's very thick. So you can see, once I put my computer on here and the mount, you essentially have the same height as the FR1000. So what the 1000 does, it hides the rest of the mass by extending it backwards and integrating the mount rather than having a separate piece. And essentially you get the same height overall. So it's a clever idea, especially if you want more output, as the FR500 is pretty bulky. So if you really want that output and you don't want additional light, this is a good option. The other FR lights are the 160 and 300, and you can see if we just attach them all together, you have just different thicknesses, but they all have the same design. And we can actually put them all on top of each other. So you have the 160 really thin and more like the fabric Lumen. It's really nice if you just want daytime visibility. So it's sleek light, hides behind under your computer. So you can see if you put a computer, even a small one, it's thinner than that. So it's a nice design, but obviously not daytime bright. So the 300 adds more output, move the button to the side, which is a lot more useful. And then the 500 simply swaps out the cob LED for 2 focused lights, but adds height, while the 1000 really gives you a full-on mount. So it's pretty cool to see them all together. And with the 1000, you get the angle adjustment that you don't have with the 500, which has the LEDs just angled inward in the housing itself. So this one you have more adjustability. But obviously this is bulkier. It's a heavier design that swaps out your whole mount, while this is something you can swap between bikes really easily. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Ravemen FR1000. What we like about it is that you have a nice combination design between an out front mount and an actual nighttime visible light. They've also designed the lens to be hinged, so you can adjust the beam angle without having to rotate the entire mount. The light also has nice bright output for nighttime riding with 1000 lumens, so more than bright enough to ride at higher speeds and long enough run time to do longer rides as well. The main negatives with the light is the fact there's no sharp beam cutoff, just a basic lens with horizontal diffusers. It also lacks a true daytime flash mode, which is a odd thing to omit. It just has a nighttime flash, which is a low to high, rather than a regular on-off pattern that's better during the daytime. Also, it has a one-level menu, so you have to cycle through that single flash mode to adjust the intensities, which can be really distracting at night. Taking everything into account would give the FR1000 an 8.8 out of 10. It's a clever light and mount combination that is nighttime visible. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.